Okay, the sum of two numbers is x plus y, okay? And we can say that that is equals to b, equals to a number. And we can also say that the product x times y is equals to another number c. So if I give you a problem where I say the sum of two numbers is b and the product is c, can you find those numbers? Okay, let's do some concrete examples so that we see what we're talking about, okay? So let's assume that we are asking that the sum of two numbers is equals to the number 10, okay? And that the product, x times y, is equals to the number 21. And I'm asking, what are the numbers? Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is I look at these two equations and I say, well, from the first equation, which is, this is the first equation, equation number 1, and this is equation number 2, I'll say that from the first equation, y is equals to 10 minus x, right? And then I can substitute that y value into the second equation. And I can say that the product x times y is equals x times, see, right here is y. So I'm going to substitute the value of y, which is 10 minus x, there. And I'm going to equate that equals to 21. And there it is. And now I'm going to solve this equation. And what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up with the quadratic equation when I multiply this out. So I'm going to have 10x minus x squared equals 21. And as you can see already, this is a quadratic equation, meaning that in order for me to find the numbers that make this equation true or to solve it, it is necessary that I solve a quadratic equation. Okay. So let's just arrange this in order. So I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm just going to write down the same thing, but in order like this. Minus x squared plus 10x equals 21. I haven't done anything. All I did was just rearrange the numbers. So now I'm going to make the first, the x squared, I'm going to make it positive by multiplying everything by minus 1 and bringing the 21 to the left, over to the left. So I'm going to end up with this, x squared minus 10x plus 21 equals 0. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is how to solve this by using factorization. And that's what this video is about, is how to factor the quadratic equation, polynomial or trinomial. So what's going to happen here is that it's going to look like this. Okay, let me write it down here for you. X squared minus 10x plus 21 is going to look like two products, like that. And the problem is going to be to find the numbers that go inside the parentheses. I'm gonna help you. It's always going to be consistent, so it's going to look like that so far. So, but the signs are going to change, and the rule is that the very first sign right here is always going to correspond to the one with the variable list. It's going to correspond to, see, if you arrange the equation in descending order, you see how over here it was not in order. I had to work it out and then put it in order. So the quadratic expression appears first, and then in descending order, then the expression without the number 2, but with the 1 appears next, and then followed by the one that doesn't have any variables. So if you arrange it in that order, then the rule is that right here, this sign this sign right here is gonna be the same sign right here. But then the second sign is gonna be the multiplication of the first sign and the second sign, which is minus times positive, you get negative, minus. And that's it. Now the problem is finding out the numbers that are gonna go right here. And for that, what you do is you factor out that 21 and find all of its factors, right? And you do that by doing this 21. Let's find out its factors. So the first prime number is was 2, but it's not. 21 is not divisible by 2. So we can move on to 3. And that's going to, 21 divided by 3 is 7. And then 7 divided by 7 is just 1. Just write down right there for now to keep consistency. Okay, so I can see that the number 3 and 7, if I multiply 3 times 7, I get 21. See, 3 times 7 is 21. And I also know that if I add them together, see, 3 plus 7, I get 10. Okay, so you can see the, if I, so what this is saying is that the number 7 and 3 are the numbers that I'm looking for. And I'm gonna ask you a question. Of the 3 and the 7, which is the biggest number? And the biggest number is the number 7. So you always write down the biggest number in the first factor right here. So you write down 7 right here, and then 3 right here. And that's how you factor it out. So I'm just showing you how to do this, but we're gonna go more into detail on how that works. There's a lot of things that I can teach you here, but I think it's just gonna be overwhelming with so much information, and it's gonna make the video longer. I'm just showing you basic stuff. Let's see. I want to point out something that, see how right here this equation is equals to 0. That means that this equation is equals to 0. And we call the number 3 and 7, we call it the roots of the equation, of the expression. And anyways, let's move over. Let's see. Let's do another example. We're going to call this example number 2. And let's be asked the question. There are two numbers, x and y, whose sum is 16. Okay, so the sum of two numbers is 16, and the product is 15. And the question is, what are the numbers? And based on what we did before, we know that we're gonna have to do a quadratic equation, and we have to solve it by factoring it out. And the numbers that we use to factor it are the solutions to this equation right here. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now what the numbers are, just so that you can get an idea. The numbers are, and you probably already know that because this is easy. It's going to get a little bit more harder as we move forward. The numbers are 15 and 1. And why am I telling you that? Just so that you don't get caught up in the process. So see, so if x equals 15 and y is equals 1, and you add them up, you get 16. And if you multiply 15 times 1, you get 15. Okay, but if you didn't know that, you would have to solve it by saying, okay, well, from right here, I can get that y is equals to 16 minus x. And from right here, I can substitute that value and say x times, instead of y, I'm going to write the difference of 16 and x as follows: 16 minus x inside the parentheses, equate that equals to 15, and then solve. And you can see here that it's going to be a quadratic equation. So x times 16 is 16x, minus x times x is x squared, is equals to 15. Okay, and now if you arrange this so that it's in proper order, meaning in descendant order, with the quadratic expression being the first term, you're going to have the expression as follows: x squared minus 16x plus 15 equals 0. Okay, so now, as we did before, without even thinking, you know that if you want to factor this out, it's going to look like two parentheses that you got to multiply together. See, I'm doing this without even thinking so far. I'm just writing down the parentheses. And I know that the consistency is going to be that the first is going to be an X like that. I'm not even thinking. This is just repeating what I just did earlier. Where I got to think is when I got to write down what sign goes in here. And remember, it's always the first sign right here. So this sign is negative, the minus 16x. Okay, you write down negative right there. Now, right here, you got to do some work, the second sign. How do I get that one? I just multiply the first sign right here of the term that has the x with that x squared with the constant. So the constant has positive, positive 15, and this one has negative. So minus times positive is minus. You write down minus. Okay, so once again, this sign right here is just the sign, the sign that is up here. But this sign is the product of multiplying this sign and this sign. That's it, period. Okay, now remember, we kind of cheated because I told you what the numbers were, 15 and 1. Or what I want you to ask you is where are you going to write the 15? Are you going to write the 15? See, the numbers are 15 and 1, right? And between those two numbers, the biggest one is 15. And you always write the biggest number right here on the first, okay? So you write it down right there, 15, and then the other number you write right here. Now, if you look at this, it doesn't really matter where you put the 15 because had this one been the 15 right here and the one right here, it wouldn't alter the product. It's still the same thing. But we're keeping a consistency because if you follow those steps, you're not gonna get confused pretty much. So in other words, what I was saying is that if you had this, that's still correct, right? That the product doesn't alter the. I mean, if you swap, if you change the factors, you're not gonna change the product. It's still the same thing. But I don't want you to use this, even though it's the same thing, because we're doing this by steps, and that's gonna matter when these signs are different. Okay, so you always write down whenever you get the two numbers, you always write down the biggest number in the first parenthesis. And you can see from these two numbers that the product of 15 and 1, see, the product of 15 and 1 is just 15. And that is the number that is this one. And you know that the addition of 15 and 1 is 16. Now, I know we have negative 16 here, but the consistency that I'm keeping here is that you can add negative numbers too. So this could have been minus 15 plus minus 1 equals minus 16. All you're doing is getting those numbers together. Don't get too caught up into, the signs. Just we're getting those numbers together, So this means what two numbers together give you this, and the product gives you this. That's all it is, okay? And we find out that those numbers are 15 and 16, meaning that is the solution to this problem. Okay, that was just an introduction, actually. Let's do, that was a warm-up introduction. I can do the back of this one. Let's do another example here. I'm gonna call this example 3. I like to number my examples, by the way. That's example number 3. If you notice the quadratic equation, it looks like this, x squared plus bx plus c, right? And what I want to teach you is how to factor that. And the way to factor it is you always write it down as two parentheses. And also you write down x right away, which is the first number or variable right here that is to the square, okay? And now, see this sign right here, positive? That's gonna go right here. What about this sign right here? Well, you multiply this sign times this sign. Plus times plus is plus. And that's how you keep it. Okay? And Let me just write down this for you here. I don't know if you're familiar with this. If you have positive times positive, you get positive. If you have negative times negative, you get negative. And if you change one of them and you have positive times negative, you're gonna get negative. I apologize here, this is positive. And if you have negative times positive equals negative. In other words, whenever you multiply signs that are equals, you get positives. See, these two are positive because you're multiplying two signs that are equals. And if they are different, like right here, this is positive and this is negative, or the other way around, this is negative and this is positive, you're just gonna get negatives, okay? So if you don't know this rule, just remember it because we're gonna need it for factoring, okay? And it's only gonna go for this right here, for this sign, for on the second parenthesis. So in other words, if you had this x squared minus bx plus c, and we want to factor this expression, it's going to look like two parentheses always, as long as we can factor it. It's going to look like two parentheses, and it's going to look like an x and like an x right there, like that. And this sign right here is always going to be this first sign right here, which is negative, right? So we went down negative, fine. And this is, and then we use this rule, you know, this rule right here. We say minus times positive is minus. See, minus times positive is minus. And that's all we can do so far. And this is how you're gonna follow all the other problems. I'm just showing you how the signs work. Check it out, x squared minus bx minus c. See, they all look different now, and the only difference is the sign, and that's gonna have an effect on the product. So that's gonna be also, you wanna guess, two parentheses, 1 and 2. And again, the x. I'm not even thinking I could do this with the x closed. What sign is that? Negative. Okay, that goes negative. And now I can say minus times minus is positive, right? Minus, here, minus times minus is positive. And there's the positive. And that's all you can do. Let's look at the last variation, which is x squared plus bx minus c, I think, right? Okay, fine. Once again, without even looking, it's just two parentheses. There's one parenthesis, the second parenthesis, right? Those are factors, by the way. And also the x. And what sign is going to go up here? Positive, this sign of the b. There you go, positive, boom, there you go. Now multiply these two signs. They're different, right? And when you multiply different signs, you get negative. Okay, when you multiply different signs, you get negative. There's the negative, and that's it. Just wanted to show you that so that we can start doing some concrete examples. Let's say we have example number 4. Okay, and I don't want you to get caught up in the algebra or the arithmetic or the math, whatever you want to call. I just want to show you first how the signs work, you know. And so because of that, we kind of, I'm going to tell you what the numbers are. And we're going to work out with these numbers, the number 2 and 3. Excuse me. You can even form the quadratic equation. So you can say, you know, it's going to be two numbers that you add up together equals 5 and multiply together equals 6. In other words, it's going to go, look at it. If we have the equation x squared plus 5x plus 6, see, you know the numbers are going to be 2 and 3 because I told you, but if you didn't know, this is the solution to the question of what two numbers added together equals 5, but when you multiply them together, you get 6. So this equation, that's what it implies. If you were to see this equation, this is saying what two numbers added together, meaning, you know, put them together, because sometimes it's a difference. You get this number, whatever number that is. But when you multiply them, you get this number. If you didn't know what the numbers are, you will have to solve this equation. because I'm teaching you how to do it by factors, you will say something like, well, just like we did earlier, you just break it down into two parentheses. You write down one parenthesis like that, and the second parenthesis like that, and then again the x, standard procedure. This is positive. The sign right here with the 5 is positive. Okay, I write down positive. And then I multiply the signs. Positive times positive, I get positive. So far, so good. Now, to find the numbers that when you multiply them together, you get 6, you will have to factor the 6 into its factors, which is 2 and 3. And you can see that if you multiply 2 and 3, you get 6. And if you add them, you get 5. Because I told you that, right? And this is something simple. But the question is, of those two numbers, the 3 and the 5, which is the biggest one? And the biggest one is 3. And we agreed that the biggest number is going to go first. So you're going to write it down right here, like that. 3, and the 2 is going to go right there. And like I said before, if you had written down 2 here and 3 here, it would not have affected this product. However, we follow a consistency because it's going to matter later when the signs start changing, okay? Okay, let's do example number 5. Keeping this in mind. Well, I'm going to change that a little bit. Example number 5. Okay. I'm going to tell you the numbers is 6 and 1. So you have this quadratic equation. See, what this is saying is that this is the solution, or if you solve it, right, of two numbers that when multiplied together give you 6. But when you add them together, you get 7. And those numbers, because I told you, is 6 and 1. But if you didn't know that, you will have to break down the 6 into its factors and test which of them add up to 7. Because if you break it, anyways, the first thing we do is we write down two parentheses. Boom, boom, there you go. Simple. And also the x. And also the sign. That sign is positive. Okay, I write down positive right there. Positive times positive, I get positive. And I know that it's, if I didn't know that, you break down the 6 into its prime factors 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is just 1. And so you can see, you're going to test this. You can say 2 times 3 equals 6. And 2 plus 3 equals 5. I was hoping to get 7. So I cannot use the combination of 2 and 3. I have to look for other factors. And the other factors I can work is 6 and 1. 6 times 1 is 6. And 6 plus 1 is 7. That's what I want. You see? Two numbers added together give you 7. And they're always going to give you 6. That's the easy part because you're breaking down the number. This number, the number 6, you're breaking it down. So you don't really have to worry about the multiplication when you're testing down here. You only have to worry pretty much about getting them together, whether it be addition or subtraction. When you get them together, that's what you have to worry about. But anyways, so the numbers are 6 and 1. So the numbers are 6 and 1. So I'm going to write those numbers inside the parentheses. And which of those two numbers is the biggest one? It's 6, right? Between 6 and 1, the biggest one is 6. So I'm going to write down 6 right there. And 1 right there. And that's it. We're finished with that. Let's move to example number 6. Get this sheet of paper out of the way. And say, is this on view? Here, okay, example number 6. Let me see, I'm thinking. 1 second, number 6. Oh, okay, how about this one? Say you have x squared plus 4x plus 3. Okay, what does that mean? If I wanna factor this, well, it's gonna look like two parentheses, right? It's gonna look like this. Let me write that right here. Parentheses, 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 right? And I'm not even thinking, all of them are gonna look like this so far. What sign is that? Positive? Positive. Positive times positive? Positive. And now I'm gonna ask myself, what two numbers multiplied together give you 3, but when you add them give you 4? It's like, wow, 3 and 1. And which is biggest, 3 or 1? Biggest one is 3, so it goes right here, 3, and 1 goes right here. And that was simple, right? Let's see, example number 7. Example number 7. Let's try this. X squared minus 7x plus 10. Okay. That is equals to 2 parentheses with the x always at the beginning. Like that. What sign is that? Negative, right? So negative goes right here. Minus times plus is minus. So we're gonna write down minus right here. Okay. Now, what two numbers multiplied together give me 10, but when you add them up, give you 7? Kind of a tough one, a little bit, right? It comes to mind, if you don't know when you're working this out, because it's gonna start getting a little harder, you always break down this number that doesn't have any variables into its factors. See, I start with the first prime number, which is the number 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, the remainder. So as 3, I want to write down 3 here, but no, I'm going to write down 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And always leave the 1 here, because sometimes it could be a multiplication of times 1. But anyways, okay, so it looks like it's going to be 5 and 10, those numbers. So 2 times 5 is 10. There's a 10. And if you add them together, 2 plus 5 is 7, which is that number right there. I know right here is negative and right here is positive, but pretty much you getting those numbers together, okay? We're gonna learn as we move forward how to identify that. But anyways, the sign. So 2 and 5 are the numbers. The numbers are 5 and 2. Which number is biggest of those two? Well, the number 5. And where are we gonna write the biggest number? We write it right here on the first factor, the first term, the first parenthesis, and then the only place for the 2 to go is right here, and that's it. We're finished with that. And you can even do a quick checkup, to see if you're right. See, minus 5 added to minus 2 is minus 7. And if you multiply the minus 5 with the minus 2, you get 10. I mean, positive 10. And that's a quick checkup just to see if you're working this properly, if you're doing this right. But anyways, that's easy, right? Let's do example number 8. Example number 8. Okay, I want to make sure I'm recording this properly. Okay. Sorry. Let's start with this one. X squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay, so it looks like the one we did before, but something is different. Namely, this number is different. Okay, so again, it's gonna look like 2 parentheses with an X. And that sign is negative. That sign goes right there, negative. Minus times minus is positive. We write down positive right there, like that. 10 broken down into its factors is 2 and 5, and 10 itself. But 2 and 5, let me see. I'm going to do a quick checkup right here. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, that checks up that number right there. And 2 plus 5 is a minus 3. Nope, it's 7. So because I didn't get this number, maybe I should try a subtraction. And it doesn't matter how do you do it. If you do 2 minus 5 or 5 minus 2, doesn't really matter because, you see. So what is the difference between 5 and 2? It's 3. I got positive 3 here. It doesn't really matter if you get positive or negative. What matters is where you're gonna put down the 3. Are you gonna put down? I'm sorry. So see, the numbers that I got was 2 and 5. See, the numbers that I got is 2 and 5. Meaning if I multiply them together, I get 10. And if I find the difference, if I get them together, I get 3. And the reason why I say it doesn't really matter if you do the difference of 5 and 2 or 2 and 5 is because if you keep the step that I told you to keep, saying which of these two numbers is the biggest one is 5, you write down 5 here. And 2 is going to go right here. In other words, by doing this step, you don't have to worry about the signs. That's what I meant. So you just find that if the addition doesn't get you the number, I got 7 here. That's not 7. It's a 3. Well, maybe the difference will get you the 3. See, I don't care if it comes positive or negative because this sign right here is going to take care of that. If you follow the step of writing the biggest number here in the first parenthesis. Okay, so you see, you follow the steps, you don't even worry about signs. Okay, let's do example number 9. Let me change this a bit. Okay, example number 9. Example number 9. Let's say that you have x squared plus 3x. I'm changing this a little bit. Minus 10. Right away, if I want to factor that out, I have 2 parentheses with the x in here. And then I look at the first sign is positive, I write down positive. Positive times minus is minus. Okay. I'm going to try the same numbers 5 and 2, because that's what I worked out earlier. So 5 and 2. And 5 and 2 multiplied together give you 10, and the difference is 3. And I write down the biggest number right here, which is 5. And the 2 goes here. You see, if you look at example 8 and 9 that we did earlier, when we had the difference of the numbers 5 and 2, when we did a difference on example 8, we got minus 3. Really, minus 3. But over here, we get positive 3. And between those two numbers, the biggest one is 5. You just write down the 5 there. And that will take care of, see, like right here we have x minus 5. We have here x plus 5. I mean, it just takes care of itself by following that step, okay? By following the step of writing the biggest number in the first parenthesis. I think I need another sheet of paper because I want to do another example. Okay, the back of it. Example number 10. I want to tell you remember how we working with problems where like if you multiply them together, you get a number, and if you add them together, you get a number? Well, that also works for fractions, okay? So let's say that you have this equation, x squared minus 1/6 of x minus 1/6. It looks scary because of the fractions, but the first thing you're going to do is as before, we just do the parentheses, 2 parentheses, and the x, And then, what sign is this? It's negative. We'll write down negative right here. Minus times minus is positive. That's the sign that goes there. Okay. Now, we're looking for 2 numbers that when you multiply them together, you get 1/6. But when you add them or subtract them, when you get them together, that's why I say when you get them together, because sometimes you add them or you subtract them, right? You get 1/6. And right away, what comes to mind is the numbers 1/2 and 1/3. See, because if you multiply those two numbers, here, I'm gonna do it right here. 1/2 times 1/3. If you don't understand fractions, that's okay, because the purpose of this example number 10 is just to show you that this thing about parentheses and the signs works also if you're working with fractions. That's the only purpose. If you can accept this, then you don't even have to understand example 10. But if you don't, then, well, look at right here. I'm showing you. So 1/2 multiplied times 1/3 is just 1/6, which is that number right there. And 1/2 plus 1/3 is, oh boy, 5/6. 5/6. So I didn't get this number 1/6. So maybe I should try the difference of those two numbers. So you try 1/2 minus 1/3. And again, I'm going to point out it doesn't matter if you have 1/2 here first and then 1/3 being subtracted from that number, or you have them the other way around. It doesn't matter. All I want to know is if when I do the difference, I get this number right here. And actually, I do. 1/6. Okay, fine. So now I know that the numbers do work. So I'm going to use 1/2 and 1/3 because they do work. When I multiply them together, I get 1/6. And when I get them together, I get also 1/6. Which of those two numbers is biggest? Well, this is biggest. 1/2, is biggest, 0.5 than decimal 33. Anyways, so 1/2 is bigger, so I'm going to write down 1/2 right here because it's the biggest one goes right there, whatever number that is. And the only place for that 1/3 to go is right there, and that's it. So this was broken down into this, into these two factors. Anyways, let me see. I actually went to, I want to move away from fractions only because that's not really important, I think. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I want to address this example number 11. I want to address, so far we have been dealing with expressions of the form x squared plus bx plus c, right? How to factor that, where this is 1. But what if that is not 1, right? What if instead I have something like this, 3x squared plus 10x plus 8. Let's say I have that. So that is going to look like pretty much the way we can solve this. Whenever you have a number here that is not a 1, the number that is of the x squared, the coefficient of the variable is not 1. I don't know if you, see, how do I put it? See, when you have this expression, x squared plus bx plus c, in a way it looks like this. Check it out. Right? This expression right here, this expression, x squared plus bx plus c, it looks like this, where right here is the x inside the parentheses, right? So to solve this problem, in order to attack this problem, we have to make it look like this. We have to first make this expression look like something like this, sorry. See, this number right here doesn't matter. I know it's 8, but this number right here is C. It's C, this number, it doesn't matter, this number right here. What matters is how do we make this, put it inside a parenthesis that is to the square. The way to do it is just, see, this is a 3. If you multiply it by 3, so you can make it 3 square. You can make it a 3 square. In other words, you multiply everything by 3. That's what I'm saying. But because you want to keep consistency, you don't want to change it. You also have to divide it by 3. This is what I mean. Look, if you have this expression 3x squared plus 10x plus 8, that entire expression, right? I'm going to multiply it by 3, but I'm also going to divide it by 3. So in essence, I'm not changing anything because 3 times, see this fraction 3 divided by 3 is just 1. So I'm not changing anything. The reason why I'm doing this 3 divided by 3, had this been a 5, then it would have been 5 divided by 5. Had it been a 6, it would have been 6 divided by 6. It doesn't matter. What I want to do is bring this number inside so that outside, say like this, times 3. I'm sorry that I'm doing too many steps. It's just so that you understand what I'm doing. When I bring this number inside, I'm going to have this expression. 3, see the 3 went inside, 3 times 3 is 3 times 3. And then x squared. So nothing changed right here in the first term. And the second term, 3 times 10. Don't simplify, just keep it like it is. It's 10 times 3x. So that 3 went inside. And 3 times 8. So it might look messy, but I haven't done anything. You know, all I did was just put the 3 inside the parentheses. So not as scary as it looks, right? Now, the 1/3 outside stays as it is. I'm just working with what's inside the bracket, so inside the parentheses. So check it out. 3 times 3 is 3 squared. So I have now 3x, everything is a square, right? Because that's saying it's 3 squared and it's x squared. 3 squared, x squared. I haven't changed anything. Plus 10, and inside the parentheses is going to go 3x. So you see this variable, this whatever is inside this parenthesis is also inside this parenthesis. I haven't changed anything. Right here, 3 times 8, it doesn't matter. Well, it does, but you know, like it doesn't matter. So I can simplify that. I can say, well, 3 times 8 is 24. There it is, done. Now, we have been doing this before. We know how to factor this expression because now it's like saying x squared, you know. In other words, this is what I'm trying to say. This looks like this, you know, just a lookalike right here. It looks like this. There's the bracket. It looks like a big X squared plus a 10x plus 24. That's how it looks like, right? And we know how to factor that. And the way we factor is we write down parentheses, right? We write down 2 parentheses like that. Let me get another sheet of paper. Oh, let me see. Give me 1 second. Oh, here. Let me write down where we are at. We are right here. I'm just writing again where I left off. Okay, that's where I left off. So let's pick it up from there. So I'm going to write down the expression inside the brackets as follows. The brackets. I'm going to write down parentheses. Right? Because I'm trying to factor that number. So it's going to go 3x right here and 3x right here. If you don't understand this, don't worry right now because I'm going to do a little recap right now, okay? So what sign is that? It's positive. Right here you write down positive. Positive times positive is positive. I write down positive. And then this 24, I want to break it down into its factors, okay? Let's see. Like, see, if you break it down, you have 2, 12, 2, 6, 2, 3, 3, 1, 1. I already know that the numbers are going to be, 4 and 6. See, see, 24 is equals to its factors, which is 2, 1, 2, 3 to the 3 times 3. See, 24 is equals to those factors. So now I also know that 24 is equals to, let's see, 2 times 3. Hang on, okay. 2 times 2. Okay. So 24 is equals to 6 times 4, right? I got those numbers from the factors of 24. Like I said, don't worry if you kind of don't understand. I'm going to do a little recap right now. So two numbers that multiply together give you 24. When you add them together, give you 10. So 6 plus 4, do they give you 10? Yes, they do. So those are the numbers. 6 and 4 are the numbers. You can write down the biggest number right here, 6, and then 4 right here. Okay, I think I lost you a little bit. I don't know, you know. Because I cut down from here. But let me explain to you this is the little recap. You know how I had this before? Let's see. 3x, everything squared. I'm just writing down everything again. I'm backtracking. You know how I had that expression, right? And that expression looks like this. Looks like this. Big X squared plus 10 big X plus 24. See, whatever is inside the parentheses is just like you square them. You get whatever is inside the parentheses, you square in that quantity. And that whatever is inside the parentheses right here. So it looks like this. And you are able to factor this expression. You know, if I were to give you this expression, because we've been doing that before, no problems. You can factor that out by saying, well, that is equals to x like that. It's equals to 2 parentheses with the x. And then that sign is positive, that sign is positive. Positive times positive is positive. And then we're going to break down the 24. We already know that it's 6 and 4. And the biggest number is 6, so 6 was right here and 4 was right here. Because check it out, 6 times 4 is 24. And 6 plus 4 is 10. See? What two numbers, when you add them together, you get 10. But when you multiply them together, you get 24. It's 6 and 4, those numbers, right? 6 plus 4 is 10. And 6 times 4 is 24. Got that? Multiply together, you get 24. Add them together, you get this number. So we broke down what's inside the bracket, and it came down to this. So let's write it down again. 1/3 of what's inside the brackets. And what's inside the brackets is this expression. Big X plus 6 multiplied by big X plus 4. Now, we're not finished here yet because we made a substitution. And what was the substitution? We said that X, the big X, was 3X. See that X right there was 3X. So we just substituted it again, right here. So everything the same. There's the bracket. I'm not doing any math right now. There's the parentheses. There is the plus 6. There's the plus 4. All I'm doing is substituting the big X by its value, which is 3X from up here. It's a dummy variable. That's what we're doing. So you can substitute the big X by 3X. And right here by 3X. That X became 3X. That X became 3X. Because it was a substitution that we did earlier to be able to see this. To be able to see this. Because it was kind of hard to go from in one shot from here to here. But anyways, you see that, right? This 3X became that 3X right there. That 3X is that 3X right there. Anyway, so I don't get you too confused. We're going to do another example that's going to be a little easier, I think. Let's pick up where we left, right here. And we finish here. Can we reduce this further? Well, that 1/3 can go inside the bracket, and it's going to divide this 3x, and it's going to divide this 6 when it goes inside the bracket, because it cannot divide 4, but it can divide in the first parenthesis. So this is going to get reduced to x plus 2. And the second parenthesis stays the same, 3x plus 4. You got that? So 1/3, when it goes inside the parenthesis, is gonna so this is what happened. 1/3 multiplied by 3x plus 6, it just became x plus 2. See, that operation became this operation. So that 3x plus 6 became x plus 2, which is that one, x plus 2. And this one, nothing happened to you, so we kept it. And that's it. So we started with the problem, let me write down right here. We started with this 3x squared plus 10x plus 8, and we factored out to this expression, x plus 2 multiplied by 3x plus 4. So that expression became this expression. By doing nothing else than multiplying everything by 3, in a way. Okay? That was example number 11, I think, yeah. Anyways, let's do one more example. Okay, just a second. I'm sorry, that was example 14. I wanna do one last example, I think, or two more maybe, if you wanna watch that through. Let's do example number 15. I told you it was gonna get a little harder, but it's actually easy. This is number 15. Let's say we have this expression, 3x squared minus 2x minus 8. We're gonna do this in one shot. So hopefully I won't confuse you as I did earlier. The first thing I do is I multiply everything by 3, but I also divide it by 3 so I keep consistency, okay? So I'm gonna have this 1/3, I'm sorry, like that. Nothing changed. Nothing has changed. All I did was multiply by 3 and divide by 3. Nothing has changed. Okay, so I'm gonna reduce that. I'm gonna put the 3 inside. So it's gonna look like this, 3x squared minus, see that 2? That 2 is right here. But inside the parentheses, I'm gonna have 3x. See, that x is that x, but the 3, the one inside is the 3x, minus 24. Are you able to go from here to here? If you don't quite follow me right now, you could probably write it down yourself in a piece of paper and see if you can go from this step to this step, so that you can pick up, so you can start following me. You can put it on pause and try to see if you can do that. Okay, so now I'm gonna treat whatever's inside the parentheses as if it were one variable. I'm not even gonna look at the 3x. I'm gonna pretend it's just one variable, like big X or whatever. And when I do that, I know that the expression is gonna look like two parentheses like this. And whatever is inside the parentheses is gonna go here, like that. And that was the hardest part. Now, I'm gonna look at the signs. What's the first sign? Negative, so that's negative. Minus times minus is positive. And again, I break down the 24 in its factors. Let's see, which 6 and 4, right? 6 times 4 is 24. And now I want to get those numbers together. 6 plus 4 And the result that's going to go right here has to be this 2. But see, 6 and 4 is 10. And like I say, if the addition doesn't work, try the subtraction. 6 minus 4. And 6 minus 4 is 2. Oh, wow, that 2 is this 2 right here. So the number 6 and 4 work. So the number 6 and 4 work, and the biggest number is 6. So the biggest number goes there. And 4 is just going to go there. That's the only place to go. So just remember not to simplify, just anyways, let's see. Now from this point, we can reduce. We can multiply 1/3 times that expression, and we can reduce it to, see this expression right here, 1/3 multiplied 3x minus 6. See, 1/3 multiplied to the first parenthesis is just this. It's just this, just these two terms, the 1/3 and the 3x minus 6. See, if you work this out, you get x minus 2. So when you multiply 1/3 times the first parenthesis, you're gonna get x minus 2. And the second parenthesis is gonna stay as it is, 3x plus 4. So I keep it like that. So that's it. That's it. This expression right here was factored out as this. So I'm gonna write down right here next to it as x minus 2 times 3x plus 4. Okay. Shall we do one more? I want to do one where it has a variable. I don't know if you follow me through. If you think this is too confusing, I think it's not. So let's do one last example. Okay. Example number 16. Let's say we have this, x squared plus 2xy minus 15y squared. See that? I did that on purpose to try to confuse you a little bit, sorry. Because when you see this, we're so used to the x being the unknown or the variable that we try to treat it as such, to say, oh, x is the variable, so yeah, I can, but you should also consider y as a variable because it is a variable. And just like x is squared, so is y. And just like x is right here with the number, so is y. So we can treat x as the variable and factor it out, or we can treat y as the variable and factor this out. Let's do both. This is it, this is the last example. So yeah, I think it's easier if we treat x as a variable because it's just gonna be a parenthesis, right? There's a parenthesis. Haven't done any math yet. And then I'm gonna write down x inside like that, as we've been doing before. What sign is this? Positive? Okay, I'll write down positive right there. What sign is this? Positive times negative is negative, like that. And now the question is, I'm looking for two numbers that when I multiply them together, I get 15y squared. But when I add them together, I get 2y. Does that make sense? So, let's see. So it comes to mind 5 and 3, right? Because if you multiply 5 and 3 together, here, really quick, 5 times 3, I get 15. See, I'm taking care of the constants first, but I'm keeping in mind the y squared, but just the constant, 15. So 5 times 3 is 15. How about the addition? 5 plus 3 is 8. Do I have an 8 right here? Nope. Okay, let's try the subtraction or the difference. 5 minus 3 is 2. Do I have a 2 in there? Yes, I do. Okay, so 5 and 3 work. That's all this is telling me, that the numbers are 5 and 3. And the biggest number between 5 and 3 is 5. So I write down 5 right here and 3 right here. But I still got to take care of that y squared. And that's easy, because, you just add it to that one of the numbers, see? Because if this number is 5y and this number is 3y, then you know that when you multiply them together, you still keep the same constant, 15, but the y's become y squared, which is that y up there. No problem. How about when you add them, 5 plus, we already know that this didn't work out. How about when you subtract them? You get 2, which is that 2. Yeah, but I want a y. Okay, so you just put the y there. 5y minus 3y is 2y. So the numbers is not 5 and 3. Well, it's 5 and 3, but with the y, right? The number is 5y and 3y. 5y and 3y are the numbers. So I added y. And that's how I factored that out. This was factored into this. I just did that on purpose. I don't know if it threw you off balance. That's what I was hoping, so that you can know that it's always going to be 2 parentheses, and if this is the variable, then it's going to be the first x, and then the signs. The first sign is this sign, and then you multiply the 2 signs, and that's the sign, and that's pretty much it. It's simple, right? But I said that this, you can also go backwards, We're still working on the same problem. Let me separate that. You can also look at it this way. Minus 15y squared plus 2xy plus x squared. I haven't changed anything. That expression is still this expression. All I did was rearrange the order of the numbers of the terms. And over here, I looked at the x as the variable. And right here, I'm looking at the y as the variable. And what I'm going to do is, I'm a little bothered by the negative sign, So I'm going to put it outside of the brackets like that. And inside, I'm going to write down the same expression with the signs change. So it's going to be 15y squared minus 2xy minus x squared. That's all I did. I haven't changed anything either. All I did was took the negative sign out, because I want the first variable, which is 15y squared, I want it to be positive. That's why. Just like here, the x squared was positive. Likewise, right here, I want the first one to be positive, the first term. And I do that by, taking the negative sign out. Anyways, talking too much. Now we go back to the problems that we were doing earlier, like problem 15, where we had a 3x squared, Likewise, we have a number. We were hoping that this would be a 1, but it's not. It's a 15. No problem. We can make it a 1. We can make it look like whatever we want to. Okay? So I'll multiply everything by 15 and divide by 15, to keep consistency. So there's the 15. Multiply, divide, right? Because that's 1. Nothing has changed. And what's inside the brackets? The same thing. 15y squared minus 2xy minus x squared. Okay? When I bring the 15 inside, I leave this 15 in the denominator. Pretty much it's going to stay like this. I want to skip steps. That's why I'm getting confused too. I want to keep steps, but let's not do that. So it becomes this expression. 15y, everything squared, minus 2x 15y minus 15x squared. Doesn't really, don't really pay too much attention to that. You see how I was able to, turn that into like that. So now I can factor this expression as I've been doing it before, because now I'm looking for two numbers that when you multiply them together, you get 15, but when you add them, or when you get them together, you get 2. I know the x might be throwing you off a little bit. Just try not to pay attention to it for now, okay? And we know from the previous problem that those numbers are 5 and 3. So here I keep the same number as I'm not doing any math right there. The parentheses. What is the number? This one, 15y, goes right here, 15y. The sign is negative, the sign is negative. Minus times minus is positive. Right here is going to be positive. This is also 15y. You should know this. This shouldn't be hard. Maybe the only thing that it might be a little hard is the variable that is throwing you off. And I said for now, don't think about it. Just think like this is a minus 15 and this is just a minus 2. That's it. Don't look at the variable. So two numbers that when you multiply together give you 15, but when you add them or you get them together, subtract them, you get 2. It's 5 and 3, right? Same as here. But so it's 5 and 3. The biggest one goes right here, and the other one was there. And now you add the variable just to keep the consistency. That's it. I mean, it's not hard, right? You can see the, anyways, well, you can see that 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 minus 3, or the difference, just the difference of 5 and 3 is 2. I don't care what sign it is, it's just the difference is 2, because this sign right here is taking care of whatever. Anyways, we can, see this expression, hold your thought right there. Okay, hold your thought. I'm glad it turned out like that. Check it out. We have this, minus 1, like that. We have this expression. I'm just writing down where we left off. That's where I left off, right? That's the same thing, and nothing changed. Okay. We know that this expression, 1 over 15, is the same as 1 over 5 times 3. So that means that I can turn this whole expression as follows. 1/5 is a negative. I'm going to explain what I'm doing. Let me just write it down. Times 1/3. 15y plus 3x. Okay. Okay, so pretty much what I wanted to tell you is that here, nothing has changed. It's still the same expression. All I did was break down the 15 into its factors. See the 15 reciprocal? The reciprocal of 15, I just broke it down into its factors right there. And then I multiply. So this one that has a 5, I don't want to multiply by this first one because the 3 cannot be divided by 5. But right here I have 15 and 5, which can be divided by 5. So that's why I'm doing it like that. I have this first factor, 1 over 5. You know, I hope you know this. If you don't, let me just write it down. So pretty much what I'm saying is that 15 was broken out into factors, 1/5 and 1/3. And I use those two factors, right? There's the 1/5 and there's the 1/3. And this expression is this expression, and this expression is this expression. Nothing has changed. But now I can reduce. I can reduce this. So I can have here 3y minus x times 5y plus x. And the last thing I gotta do is get rid of the negative sign. If it goes inside, it's gonna change the expression like this. This one stays the same. You get that? And if you remember what we did earlier, I mean, this expression is just the same as the one when we started working our problem 16, example 16, where we treated x as the variable. So in other words, whether this expression right here, I'm getting all over the place, right? I'm trying to finish this now. So x squared plus 2xy minus 15y squared, whether you treat x as the variable or y as the variable, you get the same expression when you factor them out. And that expression is x plus 5y, x minus 3y. And what did we learn from this tool? We learned that there are two ways to do it. One is harder than the other one. And so try to pay attention to that when you're working out problems. See if you want to do it the easy way or the hard way. I think we're finished. So we started with this expression. I'm doing a little recap now. And I asked you to factor it. And the way you factor it is you try to find two numbers that when you multiply them together, you get C, the number. But when you add them together or get them together, you get B. And also we saw this expression right here, ax squared plus bx plus c, you know. Remember example 15? You see 3x squared minus 2x minus 8. It just looks like this. And when you have this, you know, pretty much what you do is you multiply everything by a and you divide by a. So nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And then you make it look like this. You make it look like this. Pretty much whatever is inside the parentheses is just a whole, it's just a dummy variable. And once you get to this expression, I know we still got to divide by a. But all I'm saying is that when you have this, you reduce it to this, like this. You make it look like that. And then you just find two numbers that when you multiply them together, you get this. And when you add them together, you get B. Don't simplify B and A, you know, like just when you add them together, you get B, and when you multiply them together, you get AC. And those are the numbers that now you can work it into parentheses. This is going to be AX, this is going to be AX, and this sign right here is going to go here, and then you multiply the two signs and it goes there. It's just a recap, you know, that's why I'm rushing. So if you have a specific questions, you can ask me. I don't have a lot of subscribers or comments, so I think I can custom tailor a problem to you. So let's just say that, just show you how to factor an expression. All right, let me know. Bye.